Hey everybody, real quick before we dive into today's episode, I want to let you know that I'm doing a giveaway here on this podcast. So one of you can win a $50 Amazon gift card. What do you have to do to enter this giveaway? All you have to do is to leave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. And here's how you can do it. So open your phone, open the podcast app, go to my show, and there is a purple clickable link. You click on that, then scroll all the way down until you see ratings and reviews. And leave me a 5-star rating, leave me a review, and one of you will win that $50 Amazon gift card. I will announce the winner on the last episode in October. So good luck, and here is the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Balance Thrives podcast. Today we're going to talk about metabolism again. Yes, I know I've talked about it so much on this podcast, but this continues to be something that we just have to discuss because there's a lot we can do in order to improve our metabolic health, raise our metabolic rate. So these things are important so that we can stay healthy, so that we can also lose body fat easier, which is many of your goal. So it is important to highlight again some of the things that we have discussed before, but maybe from a slightly different angle. So today we're going to talk about what are the things that can slow down your metabolism, right? Because this is so common and I hear it all the time. My metabolism has slowed down. My metabolism is so sluggish. My metabolic rate is low. How can I speed up my metabolism? But people throw these things around and oftentimes assume that it's all about age, right? It's all about the age. And the funny thing happened a couple of months ago when somebody told me about her weight gain. And she said, she's in her mid-40s now. And this is not a client or anybody. It's just like a random conversation that I had with somebody. And she said, when I turned 20 and my metabolism started slowing down, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You turned 20 and your metabolism started slowing down. So this really shows like how little understanding we have about the human body and how easily we tend to blame the age. I mean, if you think about it, 20 is nothing. 20, I think, is still a child, basically, right? So it's not really at all your age that you're 20 years old and now your metabolism is slowing down. It's so much more, it comes down to the lifestyle factors, right? How we live our lives. And a lot of it comes down to our diet, and a lot of it comes down to our exercise. So if you want to know what slows your metabolism down and how to avoid this, then this episode today will help you to understand all of it. So I'm going to talk about, I believe I have 5 things here that slow down your metabolism. So let's stop blaming the age. Let's stop blaming it's in my family, whatever. No, it really is mostly your lifestyle, and it is time that we take responsibility for it. So let's talk about it then. Well, the first thing that slows down the metabolism is cutting the calories down too extremely, right? I understand that you may want to lose weight loss, you may want to have weight loss and fat loss, but if you go about it by reducing your calories a lot, then this significantly slows down your metabolic rate. So let me even tell you that even if you go into moderate calorie cuts, which is what I do with my clients, I then tend to be more like conservative coach in that sense that I don't cut a ton of calories. I always try to cut less if I can. And then if that doesn't produce the results that we want, then we cut more. But initially, we're going to start with a lower cut. But now, even that is actually slowing down your metabolism. Every time you cut calories down, it slows things down. Now, let alone, when we cut our calories to like 1,000, which is what a lot of people do, 1,000, 1,200. Sometimes I've seen as low as 800. So if you want to avoid like severe metabolic slowdown, you cannot do it. You really shouldn't do it. So I have read a couple of things. I'm going to read them to you too. In a study, overweight people were asked to consume 890 calories per day, which is very low, right? After 3 months, their total calorie expenditure dropped by 633 calories on average. So their metabolic rate went down by 633 calories, right? So this is like a meal, right? And that's a lot. So just because they were told to consume less than 900 calories a day, that slowed down the metabolic rate. And 3 months later, right, their metabolic rate was so much lower, over 600 calories lower. So this is what I see so often in my work as well, that people have done this, and it really takes a lot of time to get them out of this place. So if you're listening to right now and you did one of these popular diets that had you eat barely like 1,000 calories or something, it will take some time to get you out of it. And how much time it takes to take you out of it and raise your metabolic rate, it depends on how severe the cut was and how long did you stay there. So somebody who reduced from 2,000 calories to 1,700 and did it for 2 months, it's going to be easier for that person compared to somebody who cut from 2,000 to 1,000 and did it for 6 months, right? It makes sense, right? So the body's just a little bit more adapted and it needs some more time. And this is where you have to be really, really, really patient, super patient. But you absolutely need 101%. You're going to need a reverse diet here. There's no other option. And you cannot get impatient. You cannot lose hope when things you don't start losing weight immediately. You just cannot. You don't have the right to lose hope at this point, because what you've done, knowingly or unknowing, doesn't matter, right? And this is not to blame you. But what you've done is that you just brought your metabolism to a place where it's extremely low now. So we're going to need some time for healing, which is going to need it. So we cannot expect to start losing weight the second we decide to go on a reverse diet or start healing our bodies. Just not how it works. So patience is required. And also, please don't do the crazy diets that take your calories down so much. It's just not going to be sustainable, and it's going to be bad for your metabolism. All right, so the next thing that slows down your metabolism is when you are not getting enough protein. Just keep eating like a really low protein diet. And something that I want to read to you from this article here is there were three diets. Participants were put on these like 3 different diets in an effort to maintain 10 to 15% weight loss. The diet highest in protein reduced total daily energy expenditure by only 97 calories compared to 297 to 423 calories in people who consumed less protein. So if you eat more protein and you go into calorie deficit, your metabolism slows down less, right? So you have less of this effect. And a lot of it is because of the thermic effect of food, TEF. So thermic effect of food, I believe I just described it in one of my recent episodes too. But this is a rate at which this is the energy required to break down that macronutrients. So thermic effect of protein is higher than thermic effect of carbohydrates and fat. So now when you eat more protein, you're actually burning more, and you're gonna also the impact on your metabolism, the negative impact on your metabolism when you're calorie cut will be less if you keep your protein high. So that's why it is super important to make sure that you get that high protein. And something that I did not pay any attention to, like these 2 things are absolutely when I went wrong. When I did this crazy Weight Watchers things in my early 20s, I cut calories a ton, and I didn't even know what protein was. I wasn't even looking at it. I was just like, as long as I can keep my calories super low and run the few calories that I did take in off, I'm good. Totally wrong approach. You don't want to do it this way. Okay, so what's the next thing that slows your metabolism down? When you sit all the time, right? A lot of people do. And I feel like our life, the way it is set up right now, it's like you really have to push yourself to be healthy, right? Because we're so comfortable with just sitting. I could be staying here all day and doing podcasts, right? I wouldn't have to leave the house at all, but I have to get up. So if you sit all the time, that's absolutely going to have a negative impact on your metabolism, and it's going to slow it down. So I have to find ways to get up, move around, do something, take a 10-minute walk, like I talked about in previous episode as well. So it, of course, helps you to burn a little bit more calories. It's also better for your body to stretch a little bit. So you absolutely absolutely need to get up and walk a little bit more. If you're living a very sedentary lifestyle, you could also get a standing desk. I personally am not a big fan of that. I would rather just get up multiple times a day and go for a walk than work standing up. But this is a choice that absolutely you can make, and you can work when you're standing. Totally doable. So what is the next thing that we're going to talk about is sleep. So if your sleep is poor, then that can, of course, also impact your metabolic rate. And you want to make sure that you go to bed at a normal time, reasonable time. And this can be different for a lot of people. I will say I'm not somebody who's like, you got to be in bed at 9, because I've seen that it just doesn't work for some people. But as long as you get your 7 hours, right? It can be from like 9 to, what is that then? Add 7 hours to that. What's that for? Or it can be like from 11 till 8, you know, that would be more, that would be 9 hours, but 11 to 6, that would be 7 hours. So, some people do better when they go to bed at 9. Some people do better when they go to bed at 11. I think it's quite different, but so I'm not like super strongly saying that you have to be in bed a certain time, but I will say that you want to get 7 hours, and ideally you get more. So if you can sleep more, sleep more. It really does impact your metabolic rate too. You're going to have better stress tolerance. You're going to have less issues with your stress hormones like cortisol, and you're going to also have less cravings. So if you're sleeping better, you won't get like intense cravings. So combined, better sleep with higher protein, your cravings will be down. You're going to feel it, and that's going to, of course, make your fat loss easier as well. And then the last thing that slows down your metabolism is my favorite thing. If you're not lifting weights, then it will slow down your metabolism. So let's not say again, oh, it's my age, I'm 40, I'm 50, or like this person said, when I turned 20, my metabolism totally slowed down. No, we're probably not just lifting weights, right? We got to lift weights in order to keep that metabolic rate up. This is so important, okay, for so many reasons. So when we lift weights, we're going to put muscle on our body. Muscle is a very demanding tissue. What does it demand? Energy, right? And so it means that it actually wants energy and it burns it, right? When you have muscle in the body, you can eat more, which keeps your metabolic rate higher because you're eating more, you're not cutting calories all the time. Your muscle, you're eating more, your metabolism just stays higher, right? Also, it's gonna your obviously is gonna keep your bone health better, right, than without lifting. Absolutely true. So you have to lift weights, and these weights have to be so that they challenge you. If you're using the same weights all the time and they're getting light, it doesn't do much anymore. It has to really, and especially in order for it to have this bone building effect too. If you think about it, your bones and muscles, they're connected, they're attached, right? So if you build your muscle with decent weights, that has to strengthen your bone. But if you lift only light things, then it doesn't really strengthen your bone the same way at all. So I have a good example here, and this is just a really minimal, small amount of lifting. So it says here, in a 6-month study, people who performed strength training for 11 minutes per day, 3 days a week, so only 11 minutes a day, 3 days a week, experienced 7.4% increase in resting metabolic rate and burned 125 extra calories per day on average. So 11 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Most of you probably are working out more than that. So if you can see this increase in metabolic rate, 7.4% in metabolic rate, you can only imagine what it can do if you lift 45 minutes 45 minutes per session, 3 days a week or an hour, right? It doesn't mean that like more is always better. Like it doesn't make sense to say that, okay, then I'm going to lift like 3-hour sessions, like 5 days a week. No, that's not what I'm saying. There's like diminishing returns at some point, but 45 minutes to an hour, 3 days a week, absolutely. It is good for you and help you to keep that metabolic rate up. So it's like a full picture, right? It's a full picture. What do we have to do here? We have to lift weights. We're going to eat enough, right? You can't be dieting all the time. Dieting all the time is the reason why metabolism is low. There's probably 90% of the people who are listening. If you think that your metabolic rate is low, you're probably over dieted. That's just what it is, and you need to reverse that. So lift weights, eat reasonable amount of calories, eat reasonable amount of protein, and walk, get up, don't sit all day. And this is how you keep your metabolism up and running and happy, and hormones healthier and happier too. And sleep, right? Sleep too. This is actually what determines your metabolic rate. It's not the age so much. It really isn't. Just today, somebody sent me this really awesome video. This lady, she is 64 years old, and the video is really funny. She was dressed up like as a really old lady, and she started the video saying like, "Hey, people tell me that my age, I really shouldn't be lifting these weights, but," and then she's gonna take off these like old lady clothes, and underneath she's having like some workout clothes, and she looks like really fit, right, and healthy, and she's 64 years old, and she's pulling something like 310 pounds, I think, off the floor on trap bar doing deadlift. And she says, I'm 64 now. I started lifting in my early 50s, and everybody's trying to tell me that I should be doing this at my age, but here I am. So it is doable, right? It is doable. It really is just the way, like, how you look at it. Are you taking personal responsibility, and are you able to kind of block out the bullshit stories that tell you that you can't? Because I really think you can. You absolutely can. You just have to trust it, and you have to stop dieting, and you have to start lifting weights, and believe in yourself, and you can do it. All right, so this is all I got for you today. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.